guys, it is 7:30 our time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I will share my screen. Eventually, I will share my screen. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I feel like my boss when I say that stuff, but oh, yeah. Let's get over here. Ding, ding, ding. Share the screen. Now we got it. Okay, we're going to ring that bell and start the meeting. I love the little bell. And next we have the Pledge of Allegiance. So Craig, if I could ask you to lead us in the pledge.
Yes. You can join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. And last but by no means least, we have the four-way test from the Cayman Islands. Dottie, if I could ask you to lead us in the four-way test.
These are the things that we think, say, and do. First,
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second,
Is it fair to
Is
all
it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it
Will it
build
build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
fifth,
Have fun.
Have fun.
fun.
Thanks. And you can tell this is from one of those countries that drives on the wrong side of the road because they took it the other direction.
Yes, they did.
All righty. Well, welcome everyone and good morning. We have lots going on today. We have lots to talk about too, about projects, and then we're going to have Rich doing some talk about PolioPlus and inducting Craig into the PolioPlus Society. He will be the third of our members in the PolioPlus Society. And then we have Geoff Cochran, who's joined us. Geoff is the Annual Giving Officer from Rotary International. He's going to talk about the foundation. So we got a lot of good stuff. But I do want to talk about some of the projects that we have done and that we have planned. Some of you were at the beach cleanup on the Saturday, I want to say the 24th, I believe it was. And that was, let's get that thing started. The beach cleanup was a statewide effort, and it took place on all the islands here in Hawaii, and many of the clubs actually did do a beach cleanup. And we got to, we were fortunate enough to get to do Mahalapu Beach on the South Shore here. And the reason I say fortunate enough is if normal people, I'm going to call them, try to drive to Mahalapu right now, the gate is closed and locked, and you cannot get back there. So we got the keys from Grove Farm, who owns all that land, got the gate opened up, had to lock it behind us. Actually, there were like two gates we had to go through, and then there was one that was unlocked. Yeah, it was but it was cool. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. Some of the folks did the beach right at Mahalapu, right at the parking area, and some of us hiked in to another beach, which is called Secrets Beach. That was about 15 minutes in, and did a cleanup there. It turned out actually that we did this in conjunction with Surfrider. They had done a cleanup not that long ago, so most of the big stuff was taken out, but the thing that was really startling was to see, particularly at the inner beach, Secret Beach, the amount of microplastic that was there. It was a beautiful and pristine beach. Well, let me rephrase that. It was a beautiful and pristine looking beach. And then when you look down at the sand and you saw all the pieces of white and blue and green plastic in there, it's a little startling to see that. And I think it was a valuable lesson for a lot of us. We had 28 people who came to the cleanup. We had members from our club, we had members from the Lahui Club that came. And we also had some folks from HPM, Joe's company, that came along with us. And then we just had some other people who came. Rodney and Jan's cousin, Kristen, who is visiting from the mainland, came and joined them, which was really kind of nice. Oh, so we had e-clubbers too, didn't we? That's me. That would be the 1 hour of relaxing music, they call it. That didn't sound very relaxing, but that's what it was. Sorry about that. So it was good. And as you know, we're planning an island-wide partnership with Surfrider to provide visitors some beach cleanup kits. So at the various hotels, there will be beach cleanup kits that are co-labeled with Surfrider and Rotary, and encouraging the visitors to go out and do the cleanup. One of the things that was really heartening to me was while we were there, when we were done, we kind of sat around and chatted and had some refreshments, and Joe and Rodney grilled up some burgers and stuff. There was a young woman who came by and said, "Hey, I picked up a bag of trash because I saw what you guys were doing. Can I dump it in your bags here?" And she did. And then she went back and started picking up more trash, which, I think that's one of the really nice things that will come out of the visitor option that we have there. Continuing our Let's Clean the Island mode, on this Saturday, May 1st, we have our highway cleanup here in Kalaheo. Ted, do you want to talk a tiny bit about that?
So the plan is we'll meet at 9 a.m. at the Kauai Coffee sign on the highway. And Jonathan got the supplies from the highway department. Jonathan, anything else we need to know?
No, we'll just meet there and bring your own gloves. We might have some in storage from last year that I bought, but I don't know on that. The highway only provided this year, only provided the bags. They didn't provide t-shirts or anything. But the nice thing is they will come back and pick it up. So they just said stack it all near where we meet and then let them know. And so I'll call them once we're done and they'll come pick it up on Monday.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for
Yeah, so if you have still in your drawer somewhere an Adopt a Highway t-shirt, the bright orange ones, please wear that. If you don't, then please wear a Rotary Club of Poipu Beach t-shirt, the gold one preferably, because that'll be more visible along the highway. If you don't have a gold one and you need one, give me a shout out because I do still have a few more on hand that I may be able to hook you up with one.
Yeah, and thanks guys for setting that up. This is one of those projects, even though we're the Rotary Club of Poipu Beach, many of our members live in Kalaheo, and driving down the highway, it's always nice to see it looking good. And Geoff, you might have gotten a kick out of that. We'll meet at the sign off the highway because there's only one. So yeah, we don't have to say, this highway, that highway. It's just the highway because we only have one. Yeah, a little different here. Other things, May 5th, we have a board meeting. It is at 5 p.m. Obviously done via Zoom. And so all members are encouraged to attend. And this is going to be a board meeting with the current board and the incoming board. So this will be the start of our full-on transition on that. May 14th through the 16th is the district conference. It was scheduled to be in Hilo. They're still doing some stuff from Hilo. Hilo is one of the Hilo clubs is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, and that was part of the rationale there. But it is happening virtually, obviously, and you are welcome to attend all of it, whatever you would choose on that. And you can sign up for that on the district website, which is rotaryd5000.org. Coming up on June 5th, here in Lihue, we're going to have a virtual Pride Parade. There was a Pride Parade on Kauai for the first time ever in 2019. 2020, it didn't happen. 2021, it's a little different because it's not going to be a parade in the sense of having floats and people move by static standers. It's going to be static floats, booths, tables, whatever, and the people are going to drive by. So we're going to have a booth there, and this is going to be for all the Rotary clubs on Kauai. And again, anyone is welcome to assist with that. And then June 12th through the 16th, we have the Rotary International Convention from Taipei. And again, everyone is encouraged to attend that. It is happening virtually. We got to think about time zones, obviously, but most of the things are recorded and you can always go back and watch those as well. But it's a great opportunity. I will say one of the things with the international conventions is you get a view of Rotary that kind of takes you from this to this. That looked really weird. I looked like a velociraptor when I did it. But basically saying, instead of just looking at what's going on our island, it really does open your eyes to what Rotary does internationally. And I know for me, one of the things that has been amazing is seeing some of these clubs that are like, yeah, we built a hospital. Like, whoa, we cleaned a highway. And I mean, there's a lot of value in cleaning a highway, but we built a hospital is a little bit more grand on that. So those are the upcoming things until the end of our Rotary year. And then we'll have our new presidents coming in. Danny and Cyrus will be coming in as presidents, and we'll get going again on a new year. Any other announcements from any members? Lee, you've gone to a very small picture of a lake. It's very pretty. All right. So we do have two different speakers today. We have Rich Courson joining us from Oahu, and he is going to be inducting Craig into the PolioPlus Society. So I'm going to turn it over to Rich, and we'll do that at this point.
Thank you, President Rick. Thank you so much for letting me be visiting with you folks again today. And so, yeah, that's great that you guys did this beach cleanup. We did on Oahu. There were a number of clubs that were doing beach cleanups also, but a number also with Hawaii Bicycling League that were cleaning up bicycle paths. And Ala Rotary Club, which I'm a member of, was out there. And we also had a very rewarding time picking up all kinds of carts, like shopping carts and engines and all kinds of stuff on these bike paths. It's just incredible. But we had a lot of help, and it was really a good day. I also want to put in a pitch as your PolioPlus chairperson for the district. I want to put in a pitch for the district conference that's coming up, as you said, the 14th through the 16th of May. But the 1st through the 5th of May, we are having the In Polio Now virtual walk, which is an annual event, not virtual, of course, but annual event for the In Polio Now walk during the district conference. So we're doing it again on the 1st through the 5th of May, and anybody can walk. If you sign up for the convention, that's great. You can pay $5 and you can get a free In Polio Now mask, the first 100 people who sign up. And we only have about 55 right now. So there's still time to get your free mask if you pay the $5 when you sign up for the convention or for the conference. But if you don't want to sign up for the conference and you just want to walk, that's great too. You can do that. We just ask people to make a contribution to In Polio Now sometime during that period that you're walking. And the other thing that we're asking you to do is just take a fun picture of yourself, maybe wearing an In Polio Now, some sort of attire if you have it, and send that picture to me. So there's a flyer that has gone out to most of you, and it's also part of the package that you get when you sign up for the convention. But I will put the flyer on your chat today so that you all have that flyer. So we hope that you'll join us on the In Polio Now walk. You can walk as little or as far as you want to. Just take a fun picture, and we're going to show those pictures Saturday morning at the convention on a rotating thing for about 30 minutes. So everybody gets to see the picture of themselves walking and raising money and awareness for polio. So the main purpose of me being here today is, Rick, I don't know if I had sent you a message about a video, a 2-minute video. Do we have time for that, or shall we just skip through that? You're muted, Rick.
I'm muted. I forgot that. Geez, I'm like, yeah, sorry. If we can skip it, that's okay, because we are kind of time crunched today.
You got it. We'll skip it.
Enough time to talk.
So anyway, at this time, when growing numbers of people in the world and in our country are especially, shunning vaccines and steering away from getting their children vaccinated and so forth. At this time, the polio vaccine has proven that vaccines work. And, here we are as Rotary making headway in eliminating a disease that's been around for a long, long time. And we are really, really close to eliminating it. So that brings me up to the really good news to give you guys, which maybe many of you or most of you already know, but there's only been 2 cases of the wild polio virus reported so far this year. So we are really feeling cautiously optimistic about this. But as all of you know too, in order for a country to be declared polio free, they must go for 3 consecutive years with 0 cases of the wild polio virus. So we have a ways to go. So with these great numbers that we've had so far this year, it's evident that the frontline workers are really giving it their all. And we were concerned about backsliding a little bit last year with the coronavirus, but we did great last year and we're doing even better this year. So as those frontline workers are doing everything they can to get into those small places and villages and so forth in Pakistan and Afghanistan, you know, it's we as the advocates and the fundraisers need to support them by giving it our all. And that's why I'm here this morning, is to honor one of your people who is giving it his all. And we're talking about PolioPlus Society members here, relatively new organization, which any of you can join. And you don't even have to be a Rotarian to join. Your family can join, whoever can join. It's a commitment of passionate, like-minded people to contribute at least $100 every year to the PolioPlus Society. That's all it is. And you can do it online very easily. You sign up online, you go to the pledge form online. You can find that pledge form at the district website. And you answer about 11 or 12 questions. At the end of it, you click submit. That form comes directly to me. Next thing you know, I'm contacting your president to set up a time to honor you and to acknowledge you as a member of the PolioPlus Society. So it's really simple to do. You don't have to print anything. You don't have to mail it in. You don't have to scan anything, nothing like that. Just go online, fill out the form. And it's something that probably most of you all do anyway. $100 a year is not a great deal, but yet that gives us then a strong basis to provide that $50 million that Rotary has to do every year in order for us to continue to get the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation of 2 to 1. They provide 150 million, but we have to provide 50 million. So that's our commitment to fulfill the promise that Rotary made in 1985 to immunize all the children of the world against polio and to eradicate the disease. So as you know, there's no cure for polio, none whatsoever. This is just a vaccine that keeps us all from getting the disease, just like the coronavirus. So today I have the honor of honoring and inducting your newest PolioPlus Society member, and in fact will be the newest PolioPlus Society member in the country. And of course, that's none other than Craig Nishimoto. So Craig, I want to honor you and welcome you into the PolioPlus Society. And I'd ask your whole club to give you a round of applause.
Hey.
Thank you, Craig. May I offer you an opportunity to say just a few words about why you joined?
I joined the society just to support it in these times of COVID. I think it kind of took a back seat, and it's still a very important part in our worldwide health. And to meet Bill Gates and Melinda Gates matching, I think it's really important to support it, because then that triples our money to go much further. So encourage everybody to join.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Craig. So I'll be sending you your certificate and your pin. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. And a wristband. So I appreciate you joining the organization. I'd like to come back and see you guys again, Rick, in the near future to induct some more members. We're rolling along very well. We've got almost 90 members now. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I will relinquish the floor.
Thanks, Rich. And welcome, Craig. Thank you for your contributions there. I mean, Rich mentioned it's $100 a year. And if you do it online, I just did it as $10 a month. I mean, let's be honest, you walk into Starbucks, you're almost going to drop that in one day. So it's a pretty easy decision to make. And it's simple, and it does help so much, as Craig mentioned, with the matching from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's kind of amazing what you can get out of that. Before I turn it over to Geoff, I do want to do some foundation recognitions that we have in our club. So I have a couple of foundation pins here. Some of these are new, some of them aren't as terribly new, but you can't see those. Okay, that's the first one, which is going to Milani, our past president, one of our past presidents, and she is a Paul Harris Fellow +1. Oh, look, it's the same one, but it's actually going to a different person this time, because that one is going to Adi Blevins, who is also Paul Harris +1. And I just want to mention that Audie and his wife are returning to the mainland at the end of this month, so quite soon. And they don't really necessarily have firm plans for when they're going to return. Audie is having some back issues and some knee issues. He's planning on, well, they are planning on staying on the mainland to see about getting that resolved and everything. And he's actually going to be stepping back from Rotary at the start of the next Rotary year. So one of the agenda items for the board meeting is looking at moving Audie to honorary membership. We have another, this is a different one this time. You can't see that, but this one has 5 sapphires in it. And this goes to our very own Ron Mabry, because Ron is Paul Harris +6. Yay. I have mine on here, which is a Paul Harris plus, I'm sorry, I said Ron was +6, Ron is +5. This is the +6. And then we also have Becky. This doesn't work so well. You can't really see these, but this is 2 rubies because Becky is a Paul Harris +7. There she is, wearing red to go with her rubies. Look at that. So thank you everyone for donating to the foundation. Again, I do this as a recurring donation through the Rotary.org site. It's, as we would say in New England, wicked easy. And because I do it on my credit card, I get frequent flyer miles as well. And it becomes kind of just an ongoing activity. And it's simple and easy to do. The foundation does a lot. We are fortunate enough to be joined by Geoff Cochran, who is the Rotary Annual Giving Officer. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Geoff. I'm going to mute everyone. So Geoff, you'll need to unmute yourself once I'm done muting everyone. So over to you, Geoff.
Well, good morning, everyone. For you, for me, good afternoon. I just finished up lunch, so I'm well fed. I hope you are too. Probably a different meal for you, though. Really nice to be here with you this morning. Rick, thanks for the invitation. Really appreciate it. This club is a little bit of a cavalcade of Rotary stars. Ron, it's nice to see you. We tend to be in a lot of the same meetings together. Ted, I see your name often in Rotary events. Rich, you being here is a really nice surprise. Nice to see you too. And everyone else, I'd say that you're strange, but there's no strangers in Rotary, right? So we're just friends that haven't met yet. So it's really nice to see all of you as well. I am here to talk a little bit about the Rotary Foundation in general, and specifically about the annual fund, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to just express a little gratitude for you having me here, for no other reason than I have, it's being pandemic times and quarantine. I have some kids here who are doing school from home. So the fact that I get to talk with you and have some adult conversation that doesn't revolve around Star Wars or Pokemon is a really nice breath of fresh air. It's really nice to engage in some of that. But also a little disclaimer that we are really nice to our little people here. But if you hear any yelling in the background, it's just my kids, I guess, maybe taking a leg break, I don't know, from their school and getting away from a screen. So there's the chance that you might hear some yelling, just to throw that out there. So having said that, let me pull up my slides here. We'll get into the presentation a little bit. Let me see here. I've done Zoom long enough that I think I've got this down. So hopefully we'll avoid any technical issues. But as we go along, if you have any audio or visual issues, just poke me or yell or wave or something, try to get my attention. We can stop and deal with it together, but I think we should be good to go. So having said all that, here we go. Let's talk about the Rotary Foundation and doing some good in the world. One of the biggest reasons why we're meeting virtually here on Zoom this morning instead of in person is due in large part to Rotary's dedication to Rotarians being people of action, and that fits perfectly with RA President Holger Knock's theme for this year. Rotary opens opportunities, and it's never been more clear than in our presently quarantined world. I've had the pleasure of meeting really just some incredible people since I've been with Rotary, your company included in that, of course. This morning, we're covering a couple of topics in our short time together. First, I want to give you a quick overview of the state of the Rotary Foundation with a particular focus on the annual fund. And then second, we'll review some tangible ideas to develop a strategy to promote and support the annual fund. within your district and your club. And just again, to give you a quick tour of who's on the screen here and why I put them on there. You know, for all of us, regardless of our role in Rotary, we get the chance to make these connections with some just amazing human beings. Working with zones 26 and 27, one of the districts and states that I work with is Wyoming. Early on in quarantine, I had the opportunity to pop into Casper, Wyoming's Rotary Club meeting. They meet once a week. And one of the benefits of them being the biggest club in the district and really the entire state of Wyoming is that they get a visit every week from their U.S. Senator, John Barrasso, who gives them a quick 5 or 10 minute update about what he's got going on in Washington, D.C., talks with some of his constituents. But, you know, it's just one of those surreal moments where you get to rub elbows with a U.S. Senator, and it's pretty surreal when you're hearing him talk directly to you. It's a pretty neat opportunity. So really grateful for opportunities like that in Rotary. When I travel, whether it's personally or professionally, I like to pop in on local Rotary clubs wherever I happen to be. About a year and a half ago, I took a personal vacation with my dad and brother to Edinburgh, Scotland. And of course, I took the chance to step into the Edinburgh Rotary Club. So you'll see the past club president, Katie Ridlin, there pictured with me and her together. It also just so happened that their speaker that day at the club was the principal officer for the U.S. Consulate General in Scotland. Her name is Ellen Wong. So she gave a quick 30 minute talk about what she does, her role. She's a career diplomat. And really just, she told some pretty incredible stories, just another moment of impact that I got to participate in and got to meet her. So really neat thing. Bottom left is me meeting Paul Harris at the very first Rotary Club meeting in 1917 or whenever it was. I'm just kidding, of course. That's a statue we have on the first floor at World Headquarters. Also, my jokes don't really get any better than this, so feel free to laugh at any time. I promise we'll be disappointed together. But that's, if you ever get a tour of World Headquarters, you can come on in. You'll get a chance to shake Paul Harris's hand. This being the age of COVID, I promise we wipe it down and disinfect him regularly, so you won't have to worry about catching anything. But just a fun little caveat that when you come to Evanston, we'll make sure to take good care of you. And please, if you ever do get that chance, definitely email me, call me, look me up. We'll go grab some coffee and walk around the streets of Evanston, Illinois together. And then on the right-hand side, that Hollywood Squares or Brady Bunch Squares, depending on your point of reference, that's our annual giving team. That's me in the top center square. I think that's probably Whoopi Goldberg, if you're doing Hollywood Squares. Alice, if you're the Brady Bunch. But that's all of us on the team. We work really hard every single day to represent you and bring in more dollars for the foundation so that we can return that to you in the form of grant dollars so that you can make an impact in the world. So that's really just a quick tour of the slide, and we'll jump back into the presentation here. Before we get into the rest of what I have to talk about, I realize that to some of you, I'm a brand new face. My name is Geoff Cochran, and I'm the Annual Giving Officer for Zones 26 and 27, and by extension, your club. I've been with Rotary International for about 2.5, almost 3 years now, starting with Rotary's club and district support team. About a year and a half ago, I joined the annual giving team supporting your zones. I have nearly 2 decades of experience working in the nonprofit sector with various organizations, boards, and committees. As you can probably tell from my title, my focus as annual giving officer is the annual fund. Oh, let me go back real quick. Inasmuch I'm a resource to you as Rotarians and volunteer fundraisers, I can help train, apply giving trends, and analyze data to help you empower Rotary leaders to support the foundation. If you take nothing else away from this slide, please note at the bottom left, there's my email address and phone number. Feel free to copy that down and reach out to me at any point. I'm happy to be a resource for you in your roles, support you in your club giving, your own individual giving, whatever it may be. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need to contact me. The Rotary Foundation has, as we just met on a couple of slides ago, 7 total annual giving officers. There's 6 of us in Evanston representing North and South America. And then we have 1 official annual giving officer in Delhi working with Indian districts. There are, of course, other fundraising professionals in all of Rotary's international offices across the world, filling similar roles as annual giving officers. Each of us has one overall goal, and that is to help you realize the mission of Rotary International in your community. we drill down the Rotary Foundation's mission even further, another of my favorite aspects is our 7 areas of focus. Regardless of one's preferred cause, RI speaks to everyone's passion. Given the surreal circumstances we currently find ourselves in, I absolutely love that disease prevention and treatment is one of our primary causes. If you haven't heard by now, the networks that Rotary has in place to combat polio are making an impact in the fight against a novel coronavirus, and I'll speak a little bit more to that in a moment. But obviously, this area of focus is paramount given where we are currently and can only serve you and your club well in your efforts to make an indelible mark in people's lives. Additionally, I'm incredibly excited to add to this the new 7th area of focus, which was recently approved just last year by the Board of Directors and Trustees and introduced at the end of the virtual convention last year. Supporting the environment is now gathering funding for grant activity, and these funds will be made available next Rotary year. But as you all know, polio eradication remains Rotary's #1 priority. Rich gave a great overview of polio, so I'll just give a quick history, but not get into too much detail since he already did such a great job. You may know that in 1979, Rotary began its fight against polio with a multi-year project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. Some years later, Rotary International launched PolioPlus, the first and largest internationally coordinated private sector support of a public health initiative with an initial fundraising target of $120 million. At this point, I want to take a moment and circle back to disease prevention and treatment, and more specifically, Rotary's approach to COVID-19 and the Disaster Response Fund. Countries with logistics in place to address polio are well positioned to combat coronavirus in several respects. Not mentioned here are the hundreds of clubs who are making a daily impact with the help of district and disaster response grants to alleviate the hardships caused by the illness. In response to this new challenge, the foundation trustees have made available a total of $3 million in grants for districts and clubs to apply. These 120 grants of $25,000 each were met with an unprecedented response. What's even more impressive is the outpourings of support from individual Rotarians who have given over $1 million to the Disaster Response Fund alone. If you would like to follow your fellow Rotarians and make your impact felt, you can log into My Rotary and visit the Disaster Response Fund page. But regardless of a Rotarian's passion, it's clear that the Foundation's impact is felt far and wide. That's due in large part to the tireless work that you do in the world. Our trustees set some audacious goals this Rotary year to support this work even further, with a substantial goal of $410 million across all funds. The Rotary Foundation is nicely positioned to achieve its most ambitious year on record. Things have clearly changed in the past months, and we can't be sure what the rest of the year will look like, given the interruptions that COVID-19 will undoubtedly present. But our leadership asked, and to date, Rotarians have delivered. If we dive a little bit further into the actual numbers, we'll see that there are some notable changes over last year to date. As we're closing in on the end of the Rotary year, our fundraising efforts are coming clearly into focus. The annual fund is currently up ever so slightly by 2.5%, while PolioPlus is down just a notch by 1.6%. Additionally, with the endowment fund sitting at $49.7 million, we're trending toward the unprecedented goal of 2.025 by 2025. That's $2.025 billion in our endowment by 2025. It's cause for pause and celebration and is a major testament to the dedication of all of you and your clubs. And just I'll take a quick aside here to add a couple of notes to this slide. Up until this point in the Rotary year, we were in the red in the annual fund, which is a nice precedent, I think, that as we're closing in towards the end of the year, we're slightly up at this point, which bodes well for closing in on that goal by the end of the year of $135 million. The endowment is up actually significantly, even though we're down just a little bit. And I know that District 5000 is really making some nice strides towards its own endowment goal. And the district itself is a huge supporter of the endowment, which I applaud you all at. PolioPlus is down by 2.5%. Truthfully, it's not down by that much. And PolioPlus always has a strong push by the end of the Rotary year. So we fully expect that to meet the Rotarian asked give of $50 million so we can get that 2-to-1 Gates match and meet that $150 million goal. So I think we're trending nicely. We, of course, have to keep up our efforts over the next couple of months here as we round into the end of the year, but we're doing well this year, all things considered. And it really is amazing if we stop and think about everything that we've had to deal with this year, especially when it comes to fundraising. I'm just astonished by Rotarians' generosity and dedication to the foundation and Rotary as a whole. So again, I applaud all of you and Rotarians in general. So thanks for your generosity. All right, moving on just a little bit here. There you have a quick overview of where we currently stand in terms of the goals for the year. With that in mind, it's important to understand why people continue to give to the foundation in such significant ways. The impact of your gifts is clear, but there's one aspect that's sometimes easy to overlook. Everyone on our polio and philanthropy team are conscientious about your funds, and we make an exerted effort every single day to act as good stewards for your investment. That's reflected in the highest rating the Charity Navigator issues to nonprofit organizations. If you aren't familiar with Charity Navigator, it's a nonprofit organization that rates the efficacy and transparency of other nonprofits. The Rotary Foundation has been rated with their highest 4-star rating for the past 13 years at this point, and routinely scores well in different performance metrics for rating a charity's financial health. While the Charity Navigator rating is only a snapshot of Rotary's efforts and fiscal responsibility, we've proven over the years to be among the most competitive of our peers in this area. Only 1% of charities evaluated have received at least 13 consecutive 4-star evaluations. With an unprecedented 90% of donations going towards programming, it's no wonder the Charity Navigator, but even more importantly, Rotarians hold the Rotary Foundation in such high regard. So there you have a quick overview of where we currently stand in terms of our goals overall. During our remaining time here, I want to just give you a quick high-level view of our most significant giving vehicles and recognitions. I think we've had a nice view of that with all the recognitions that have already happened in the club today alone. So I applaud all of you. I'm kind of preaching to the choir as far as that goes. But I'll just make a quick couple of points. At this point, it can't be understated how much of an impact Rotary Direct is going to have in the coming year. Rick, you spoke nicely to that with your own individual giving. Thank you for that plug. With so much disruption in our normal processes and the potentiality that traditional payment methods may become temporarily unavailable, for example, processing checks, Rotary Direct expedites your gift and ensures that it reaches your designated fund. And I'll just add to that at this point that at present, because we don't have any staff working in the building, or at least a very, very minimal amount, the General Secretary asked all of us to work from home to maintain a safe work environment and make sure we can be as effective as possible. We have a team, a very small team, going into World Headquarters twice a month. So that works out to be about once every 2 weeks to collect donations that have come into World Headquarters, whether that be checks or contributions by form through credit card. So there's going to be some significant delays in collecting those contributions, which means the donations portal and Rotary Direct really are the most effective way to send your donation into the foundation. Compared to last year to date, there's nearly 1,000 more Rotarians who've signed up for Rotary Direct, yielding a full 2% increase in donations. Rotary Direct obviously is going to be invaluable to our giving goals and will pace the success in meeting our goal for the rest of this year. There are several recognitions that apply to Rotarians to complement Rotary Direct and help your club members reach their giving goals. The first of these is Every Rotarian Every Year, or E-Ray, which encourages all Rotarians to actively support the Rotary Foundation by giving at least $25 a year and $100 per capita in the club. E-Ray is easily achieved by giving as little as $10 a month through Rotary Direct. Similarly, sustaining member is achieved when a Rotarian gives $100 individually in a year. Two more complimentary recognitions include Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society. A Rotarian will increase their PHF level for each $1,000 given, which works out to about $84 a month through Rotary Direct to achieve both recognitions. Paul Harris Society simply asks Rotarians to commit to giving $1,000 each year to the annual fund PolioPlus or an approved foundation grant. These are three of the easiest ways to build strong individual support for the foundation in your club. If you or your club are sitting on a large sum of Paul Harris points, another way to incentivize giving is to leverage these points to motivate even greater levels of giving through, for example, 2-to-1 points matching for every dollar given in a month. The possibilities really are limitless in this respect, but foster a culture of giving in a club or district that endures. With these being the 3 most accessible recognitions available to Rotarians, it's equally important to call attention to Rotarians who achieve these milestones, which you do, looks like, on regularity. I encourage each of you to take time out of your club meetings to honor those who have achieved. Not only will the recipient themselves feel the weight of their achievement, but it will also inspire other Rotarians to give as well. Lastly, there's just a few additional resources available to you. My Rotary and Rotary.org have been covered enough here this morning, I feel like. In addition, my colleagues in the Rotary Support Center are still working diligently every single day to answer emails and provide some much needed clarification. As your annual giving officer, I am, of course, always here to help with anything that you might need. And you have each other. We're fortunate in Rotary to have an expansive, knowledgeable, compassionate community. It's more important now than ever to rely on each other for support, both individually and for Rotary. Inasmuch you have great club leadership to help you navigate the intricacies of Rotary and take action that speaks directly to your passions. Not to throw anyone under the bus, Rick, but I happen to know personally the club presidents love to get calls at 2 a.m. to talk about ideas for club and service projects. I also invite you to get to know your district leadership when you have the opportunity. Thank you ever so much for giving me the chance to spend some time with you this morning. I'm around, of course, for questions about anything and everything related to the foundation. Again, thank you so much, and please take care of yourselves and each other.
Thanks so much, Geoff. Always good to hear what good we do in the world. And of course, the Charity Navigator ratings are something that we can justifiably be very proud of. It is a rare charity that has that sort of consistency in ratings. Questions for Geoff? Anyone? Yeah, Greg.
Geoff, so on a personal level, what's the easiest way to track your giving and your level of achievements in the foundation?
Really good question. So the idea is that in recent years, we've developed my Rotary to try to help, especially with giving, but at every level of Rotary, to try to help a Rotarian be as self-sufficient and self-supporting as possible. So if you log into my Rotary, at the very top right, you'll see your name. There's a drop down and you can click on My Donations. Click that and it'll take you to another menu where you can choose Donor History. It'll pull up a report of your own personal giving. It'll show you each gift you've made. It'll show you all of the recognitions that you've achieved in Rotary. So you can look that over, make sure it matches your records, of course, but also kind of keep current on where your giving is, what you've been giving to, which fund you've been giving to, and what your recognitions look like.
Thank you. I think as a club, we need to publicize that just so that, they can see where each of us are,
It really is a great tool. Absolutely.
It is. And obviously looking at the numbers that Geoff presented, there's a surge of giving towards the end of the Rotary year. And I think a lot of that is people looking at it and going, oh, if I put another $200 in, I achieve my next fellowship level. So if you don't know, you can't do it. So yeah, I can talk a little bit about that at another meeting and show you some of my Rotary stuff. If I can get my Rotary to work on my laptop.
That is the copy.
Rick, I would suggest that you do a walkthrough because in my opinion, and I'm pretty computer literate, I don't think that my Rotary site is as friendly as it could be at times. You need to know some stuff in order to get to where you want to go.
I do not disagree.
It's not as user-friendly as we would like it to be. You kind of have to know where you're going to find what you need, right? So definitely a walkthrough or a tutorial would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. We can do that at one of the meetings in June. Yeah, Mike.
He slid over the point of matching points. And in the past, we've matched points with potential Paul Harris Fellows, and he suggested a 2-to-1 match for $2 cash. We do have a lot of points, and there's a lot of our members that have accumulated a lot of points that we could share to help some of our other members reach this Paul Paul Harris Fellowship level of
Mhm.
$1,000. You do have a lot of points. It could be a fun motivator. It has in the past.
Yeah, okay, we can look at that. And I mean, we used to have the, as you might recall, it was called Cashback with John Black. But we've sort of discontinued that with the move to Zoom meetings, but we can look at ways that we can do some sort of similar types of activities, certainly, to encourage donations. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things you can do with points. 2-to-1 was just an example, but another one of my favorites is when new members come in, matching, for example, their first $500 given to boost them up to their first Paul Harris Fellow level. It's a nice incentive. And on top of that, one of the things that we found on our team, we've done a quick study and looked at individual Rotarian giving and found that if you encourage and bring in dollars from first-time donors within the first 18 months of them joining an organization, it really makes them career givers. And so if you can really emphasize that giving in the first few months of them becoming a Rotarian, it really goes a long way towards them becoming lifelong supporters of the foundation.
Well, and I recall that, like Milani, who is Paul Harris +1, she was not able to make donations to the foundation, but as honoring her for her presidency, we gave her 1,000 points. And she was so thrilled that she became a Paul Harris Fellow. And then the +1 is a board recognition for the next year. And when I contacted her about it, she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing, because this is not something I would have been able to do on my own at this time." But again, like you were saying, Geoff, it also kind of adds a jump start, because you do get a new one of these every single time, and it's kind of exciting when it comes. Some of you may remember there was a meeting. I think it was in person, so it was last year, where someone had a new Paul Harris pin to give out. And I was just like, I don't know, it's going to someone. And it went to me, and I was like, oh, geez, totally didn't expect that. But it's kind of cool. It's a nice feeling when those sorts of things happen. There are also other things with regards to giving to the foundation that you can do. There's the idea of being a benefactor, mentioning Rotary International in your will. And the other one, Arch Clump Society. Who here is ready for Arch Clump? Yeah, no. That's $250,000 given to Rotary International. So there are,
At a minimum,
many,
it doesn't
many...
have to be just 250,000. You can go higher if you want.
I was talking entry, man. I was talking.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So there are lots of different options out there, and coming back to the idea of kind of a walkthrough of the My Rotary site, we can see all the different options that exist out there. I mentioned again, and I will say it again, the online giving as a recurring donation is so easy, and it just becomes part of, I mean, when I go out and pay my bills every month, there it is. It's in my credit card statement. And it's simple and easy for me to do that. And I'm collecting frequent flyer miles, which is also good. So all good stuff out there. And the other one, actually, Geoff, if you can address the 3-year period where the monies come back to the clubs, can you just talk a little bit about that? Because there's still some confusion around that for some people.
Yeah, and it's understandable. I mean, it's a little bit of an intricate system. You're referring to the share system.
Yeah.
So when you give to Annual Fund Share, which is one of our major funds, it's actually the major fund, the general fund that supports the foundation and grants. You give, for example, $100 to the Annual Fund Share. That $100 is then invested for 3 years. After that 3-year investment cycle is up, the $100, the principal that was first given, is then split in half. 50% of that, so in this case, $50 goes to the World Fund, which supports global grants. The other 50% goes back to the District 5,000, in the form of district designated funds, which supports district grants. The nice thing about this system is that any investment, any gains on that investment over that 3-year cycle goes to support any overhead costs, right? So we don't take anything from the initial $100 gift. unless it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes in really lean years or when the economy isn't doing well, we have some caveats to that, of course, so that we can be flexible as an organization. But in an average year, that main principle comes back 100% and is returned to Rotarians in some form or another, whether it's in global grants or district designated funds. So that's the short and skinny of it. There's a lot of caveats to it, but that's the general idea. So yeah, it really is a great system that we have in place to really make sure that every dollar given is returned to the organization in some way, shape, or form. It also speaks to why we're rated so highly by Charity Navigator and have such great efficiency as a nonprofit organization.
So when you hear us talking about district designated funds, that's what that is. That's people made donations to the annual fund 3 years ago, and now we're reaping some benefit of that in the current timeframe, which is another great option in there. Any other questions for Geoff? Yeah.
Rick, I want to comment. I'm involved with several other foundations, and this Charity Navigator is a big deal. You can feel free to tell any of your friends that want to donate to anything that when they give to Rotary, as an example, when we have a fundraising project, their money is used as efficiently as any foundation anywhere in the United States, period.
It's a great point, Keith. And there are a few different organizations like Charity Navigator out there, one of them being Charity Watchdog, another is GuideStar. We point to Charity Navigator because it's one that everybody relatively knows, especially in the nonprofit world, but all of those types of organizations rank the Rotary Foundation really highly. I think we have an A+ with Charity Watchdog. So yeah, we're a top rated organization regardless of who's looking at us. We're pretty proud of that fact.
Yeah, and I think, knowing that you're giving to an organization that isn't just paying a CEO some exorbitant salary is a good benefit. I think we've all seen the stories about how much people at some other organizations, the executives and such earn. You're like, well, why the heck am I giving them my money? I personally have felt very comfortable giving the money to Rotary because I know that it's going to be used well and wisely. The 2.025 goal for 2025 is neat because, of course, it 2025, 2025, it all matches up and everything. But the other part of that is then the earnings from that become part of what continues onward with allowing us to do the good that we do in the world. And again, I'm going to come back and talk about going to an international convention and doing it virtually is a great option because you do get to see the good we do in the world. And it's easy living, particularly, I think, here in Hawaii, to see Rotary as just very much local and community-based. But we actually are a massive organization around the world, and we do a ton of good stuff. So listening to all of this and seeing some of the projects that other clubs have put on is amazing. So I encourage y'all to take some time to listen to that.
And I'll just say too, in addition to your point about the endowment, we talk about billion-dollar endowments. We're usually talking about colleges and universities. So for a nonprofit organization to have the reasonable expectation of meeting that goal, number one, is astonishing, and it speaks to the dedication of Rotarians to work towards that. But it also speaks to the security going forward of the organization to be able to grant out dollars in the way that we have, that regardless of economic circumstances, once we have that endowment in place, we'll be able to secure those grants going forward and make sure that Rotarians like yourselves are able to do the same incredible work regardless of what else is going on in the world. So it's a nice caveat to have that in our back pocket and to be able to work towards that is pretty special.
Yeah, it really is. Any other questions? Yeah, Dottie.
Hi, Geoff. When I'm not here on this beautiful island, I'm a member of the Wheeling, Illinois Club. And our member for 50 years was Jack Blaine. What's the status of the Jack Blaine endowment or fund or whatever he established?
Yeah, Dottie, you're right in our backyard here in Evanston in Chicago. That's great to hear. When it comes to individual endowments, I'm not the best person to speak to that, only because I don't have a day-to-day knowledge of how those funds are established and what they go towards. So if you wanted to check on that, we can maybe connect offline, and I can connect you with the staff if you wanted to inquire about that. But rest assured, once an endowment, a named endowment especially, is established, those are, they're taken well care of, because one of our calling cards and our hallmark marketing opportunities when it comes to endowments is that they're established in perpetuity. And so we take very special care of those.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And that is not Lake Michigan in the background of Dottie's.
Although yesterday, minus the palm tree, we broke 80 degrees, so it very well might have been.
Oh, wow, impressive.
That's pretty special for us nowadays, yeah.
All right, folks, I will wrap it up. Thank you so much, Geoff, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I've been a proponent through our district of Zoom. And one of the reasons that I'm a huge fan of Zoom is the ability to get someone like you to come and speak to our club of 30 people. So it's much appreciated that you take the time to do that. For all the rest of us, go out, do some good in the world today. Hope to see you on Saturday for the highway cleanup. Always a fun time. Last time we did one, we had almost enough stuff to make a whole new car. So you never know what we can actually create out of this one. But it will be another fun time. So thanks, everyone, and talk to you in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Nice to meet you all. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Geoff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well.